Hello, this is Community Unity Now, the D Tycoon Show. My co-host, Bill Morton, president of the Rogers Park Chamber of Commerce, cannot be with us here tonight because he is still nursing his injury. I am Trudy Leong, administrator of the Rogers Park Chamber of Commerce. Our very special guest is Megan Nakano. She is the executive director of Asian American Chamber of Commerce of Illinois, AACCIL. Welcome, Megan.
Thank you.
Thank you. So first of all, the chamber formed during the pandemic, but what else beside the pandemic instigated the forming of the chamber?
Well, really, I think that was the major issue at the time. I think it was a culmination of the fact that there started to be a few more Asian American legislators elected, and so they were growing in influence and power, and they said, what can we do for the community? What do we need right now? And since it was the pandemic, and since hate crimes against Asian Americans were up like 167%, and 90% of Asian American-owned firms experienced a decline in their revenues, and this was disproportionate to other businesses. And many of those businesses closed during the pandemic, so it was kind of an emergency situation where we really needed to get information about those PPP loans and other grants out to the Asian American community and technical assistance, and there really was no pan-Asian business organization out there to do the technical assistance and to disseminate that information across the state. So we were asked to start this organization, and during the pandemic, Asian American businesses were the hardest hit, and they've also been the slowest to recover. So our work is still really needed.
Wow. So the Asian Americans, when they got discriminated against, there was a lot of pushback from the administration against the Chinese, saying that COVID came from China, etc. But the discrimination even reached non-Chinese Asian business owners as well.
Yeah, I think in general, Americans tend not to distinguish too much between the different ethnicities when it comes to Asian. That's right. Yeah, so I think, growing up, I was called Chinese a lot, even though I'm of Japanese origin. So I really think, the pandemic and the backlash against China really hit all Asians very hard.
Well, I'm sure I was bullied when I was young. I guess you were bullied too when you were young?
Yes.
Yes, I think it's not uncommon at all. And then with that, it's just escalated. But so when the chamber formed, how were you able to outreach? Because do Asians know about the chamber? How did they? How did you reach them so that you could help them with the PPP loans, etc.?
Well, I think that our strength is really in our partnerships. So I've been building this network in the Asian American business community for about 25 plus years. So really there is an existing Asian American business community that just needed a little bit of organization. So we weren't starting from scratch. And there are also a lot of other Asian American business organizations out there, just not a pan-Asian business organization.
In other words, Chinese chambers or Vietnamese chambers or something like that? Or
right, exactly,
okay.
Yes.
And so you incorporated in Chicago?
We did, yes.
Okay. So it was by word of mouth that you got your message through, since you had the original contacts and organization.
Yeah, it was mostly through word of mouth and a lot of pounding the pavement, a lot
Okay.
of, you know, partnering with other organizations, attending other organizations' events to get our name out there. A lot of social media to try to, get the information out there and also build our brand and our presence.
Okay, so besides the PPP loans, how else were you able to help these businesses?
Well, my background is in minority certification and procurement. So I was formerly with the Chicago Minority Supplier Development Council, where I spent many years working with folks to get them MBE certified, also WBE certified, DBE certified. They have programs for minorities, women, veterans, people with disabilities. And then, using those certifications to to get contracts with government and with large corporations. So that is something that I found was lacking in the knowledge that I think was lacking in the Asian American communities.
Not only in the Asian American community, I think in the general business community too.
I think that's true. And I think it's generally underutilized. And so we're trying, I'm trying to get folks interested in the certification process and also in corporate and government procurement.
Yes. As a matter of fact, my previous guest last week was talking about that. So let's say there are a lot of restaurants, Chinese people and all of us Asians, we love to open restaurants. So are those restaurants able to land some of these procurement contracts?
I think there are opportunities for restaurants in procurement. I think, unfortunately, right now, many of those opportunities are on the small side, catering, smaller catering events. But the large contracts, for stadiums and universities, I think what we're going to need to do is start pooling our resources and collaborating and doing joint ventures to grow to the capacity to service these larger clientele. So that's sort of what I'm interested in doing, is getting groups together to bid on these larger RFPs, because I think a lot of them right now, it's sort of they have to take care of the comprehensive menu and they may only have one part of that. And so if they could band together and form a large catering group, then maybe they could get some of these bigger contracts.
Oh, okay. So by we, are you talking about different organizations or different businesses, like different restaurants or different food service or businesses that could be part of that menu?
Yeah, I think if a lot of different restaurants or catering companies came together and pooled their resources and their staff, that they could maybe bid on some of these larger contracts.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. And then you do have the background to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What else then does the chamber do? Because I know that you're not a membership organization, but there is so much that needs to get done.
Yeah. Well, I do pro bono consulting for Asian American businesses and anyone seeking to do business with them. So if a corporation or government agency is looking for diverse suppliers for their supply chain, looking for folks to bid on contracts and RFPs, they will come to me and say, okay, I'm looking for somebody who can do, a GC, an Asian American GC, for example, and then I will go through my role.
GC is a government contract, right?
General contractor.
Okay,
yeah.
General contract.
So, if they're looking for that, then I will send, this information to my list of general contractors. Or if they're looking for somebody to do, office supplies, then I'll provide the names of those folks. And we also have a business directory, Asian American Business Directory, which is free for any Asian-owned business in Illinois to be listed on there. And then hopefully government and corporations will use this directory if they're looking for diverse suppliers.
How long have you had this directory?
Well, we've been working on it, growing it for a couple years now.
And about how many members are in the directory?
Now there's about 1,000 in it.
Oh, well, that's a lot.
There's about 110, the number I've heard is about 110,000 Asian-owned businesses in Illinois.
Okay.
So we'd like to get all of those in there. That's our goal. Get everybody, all the Asian businesses listed in this directory.
So I guess it's a digital file then, right? It's like an online directory.
Exactly, right.
Otherwise
They can
it'll
go
be
to
like
our
a phone book.
website
Okay.
at AACCIL.org
Okay.
and go to the resource directory and sign up for free.
Oh, okay. That's great. What else are you does the chamber help the businesses with?
Oh, okay. Well, we also have, I should mention that we also have an Asian American a resource directory, which lists Asian American community organizations and also other BSOs, business service organizations.
Such as?
Such as the SBDC network, the Small Business Development Center Network,
Okay.
the MBDA business centers.
MBDA stands for what now?
Minority Business Development Agency.
Okay.
These are sort of federal programs. The MBDA and the SBA are both federal programs, but they give money to the state, who then doles it out to business service organizations to to help give free counseling and assistance with loans and access to capital.
That's very necessary. But how much has the current administration affected these kind of programs?
Well, they're still in existence.
Good.
I'm still around. The SBDC network is still around. I think that they are changing their model. They're going from having many independent small business development centers to like a hub and spoke model. So that'll be a change that we'll see coming.
Got it. So if there aren't the Asians, there will still be the business community pulling everybody together, because it's who knows how the administration will deal with funding for these organizations that help diverse populations.
Yes, well, hopefully, and I think any programs that benefit small businesses will benefit all diverse businesses as well.
Yes.
And so, the focus, I think, is really on scaling up small businesses and creating jobs in the community. And I think everybody should be able to get behind that
Of course.
right now.
And so does the Asian American Chamber of Commerce of Illinois help with employment and also with businesses scaling?
Yes, I think a big part of businesses scaling can be using the minority certifications and also, government and corporate procurement opportunities with or without the minority certification component. I think, a lot of businesses haven't really thought about.
Exactly.
They're thinking about the individual consumer rather than larger clients.
Exactly.
And I think that's a good way to start thinking about scaling up. Also, another question that I like to ask my clients is do you even really want to scale up? Is that what's best for you in the long term? Because, scaling up often means taking on a lot of debt and losing some control of your business. And so, that may not be for everybody. So a big part of what I do is talking to folks and finding out what their dreams are for themselves and their families and their businesses, and then helping them make that dream come true rather than, just kind of going into things because you think that's the way that it's supposed to be.
I got it. In other words, some people, like some business owners, like that daily interaction with their regular customers, while others, they really want to increase the bottom line. So it depends on what they want, and then you try to help them in that way, what they want. You determine what they really want to do.
That's right.
So what about those businesses that are just interested in their, like a regular business that with daily interactions with their regular customers, such as restaurants or bakeries, or how does the chamber help them as well?
Yes, we are industry agnostic, so we have folks from all sorts of businesses, including restaurants. Of course, as you mentioned, in the Asian community, we do have a lot of restaurateurs, and we definitely do things to try to uplift those businesses.
Such as?
Well, we have business expos.
Okay.
We use Asian American vendors whenever possible. So whenever we hold events, we're using Asian-owned businesses, and also, amplifying their brands and, helping them promote themselves, making strategic connections. That's one of the biggest things that we do. My greatest asset is my network, and that's what I share with my clients. So when I talk to the client, I figure out what it is that they might need, who they are interested in being connected to, and I try to find helpful connections for them and make those introductions.
In other words, you're a master at referrals.
I'm a matchmaker.
Well, that's a match made in heaven, hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah.
Okay, and then so that's already a lot. Anything else that the chamber does to help businesses, Asian American businesses?
Well, one of the things that we do is advocacy work. So we're, in any opportunity that we get, we talk about the importance of using Asian American owned businesses.
Okay.
As suppliers,
So where do you go to deliver this message?
Wherever I can, like places like this, Can TV. Any opportunity that I have to talk about the importance of using Asian American owned businesses, I do. Asians, as we know, are the largest growing racial demographic in the country and in Illinois. And already 1 in 10 businesses are owned by Asians.
Oh, wow.
And so really the message is that the success of the U.S. economy really depends on these Asian-owned businesses. So we have to support them as consumers and, in the public and private sector.
So when you do your consulting and you talk with businesses, what kind of problems do they come to you most about?
Well, the number one problem, of course, is financing. Access to capital is always a huge issue for people.
So what's the best way for a small business to get capital?
Well, friends and family are always the first place we tell people to ask. That usually has the fewest strings attached and is the cheapest. But if you're not so fortunate as to be able to get money from friends and family, then, sometimes people choose to take out mortgages on their homes. Sometimes, take out a HELOC. Sometimes that's the cheapest money.
A HELOC is?
Home equity line of credit.
Okay.
But also, if you want to build credit for your business, that's another consideration. So you might want to open up a line of credit.
A business line of credit.
A business line of credit. Or, if you're purchasing property, then of course there's those kinds of loans. It really depends on the situation.
So what lies ahead? What issues do you see that you have to help businesses address in the near future or that are happening now?
Well, I don't know that I can help it, but certainly, prices are going up.
Yes.
Everybody's costs are rising, and so the business owners are having to choose between whether they're going to pass those costs along to their customers by raising their prices, or whether they're going to absorb them themselves at a loss. That's one big problem. I know that it's very hard to find folks in service positions right now. I know restaurants are suffering from that, as are a lot of businesses that need service workers. So that's a big problem. The cost of hiring folks is going up. And so those are issues. There's a lot of financial, economic uncertainty right now, which makes it hard to plan. But I think that also opens up a lot of opportunity.
Such as what kind of opportunities?
Well, trade with some of the lower tier of countries, maybe, in Asia and Southeast Asia. I think there's a lot of opportunity there.
Okay.
In countries like Vietnam and Thailand.
You mean the businesses, they could find suppliers in those countries that, is that what you mean? That have a little bit more reasonable prices so that they could cut down on their supply cost.
Yeah.
Got it.
And new opportunities to do trade with those countries in the exporting as well. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. How hard is it to export? Do a lot of the businesses export?
I think it helps if you have relationships in the other country, which makes Asian American businesses great for import-export, because a lot of them have families in other countries that they can build those relationships and make it easier.
And you could advise people about export, because that's kind of new territory for a lot of business owners.
There's a lot of resources, particularly in the state, because the state would really love to encourage exporting, and so there's a lot of unknown resources out there in that department. So I'd love to connect folks with those resources. Yes.
Well, Megan Nakano, Executive Director of the Asian American Chamber of Commerce of Illinois. If our viewers want to learn more about you and the Chamber, where should they go?
They can go to our website at www.aaccil.org, and anybody can reach out to me anytime. As I said, I do pro bono consulting for Asian American entrepreneurs and anyone seeking to do business with them. So please, look me up.
And they could reach you via the website.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for watching Community Unity Now, the D Tycoon Show, from Bill Morton and Trudy Leong, Administrator of the Rogers Park Chamber of Commerce. Thank you again so much for watching, and we will see you again next week.